NBA All-Star break means first half recap, and that's what we're doing today. The most surprising and disappointing teams so far, breakout players and players who have gone downhill, and we're ranking our top 3 contenders for the Larry O'Brien Trophy as of now, and this is all coming up next on the Brickhouse. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Brickhouse, partner of House Call Sports. I'm here with Joe and CISO. My name is Matt, and today we are talking about all things NBA first half and telling you who are the biggest threats at the title in June. But first, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video. It is a brand new sponsor, and that is Dubby. They are the maker of clean gamer energy drinks to help enhance focus, concentration, and reaction time with no jitters, crash, or bad ingredients like maltodextrin and artificial dyes. Their coffee fruit cherry extract is the star of the show. This ingredient is what makes Dubbies unique, making it the perfect drink for gamers and creators. They've handpicked what they believe to be the 10 most critical ingredients for focus and concentration. So if you're a gamer or creator or anyone that needs to focus at all, really, and want a sugar-free and keto-friendly drink, use our code TheHouseCall in all caps. That's TheHouseCall, all capital letters, for a 10% discount on any order, so you can focus and have energy without some of those bad side effects. So big shout out to Dubby Energy for sponsoring us, and they've got an amazing product and amazing company. Now, let's get into this NBA and what we saw in the first half, because we are at the All-Star break. We're recording this the day of the All-Star game after All-Star Saturday, but I don't know about these guys, but those events have gone so far downhill that I don't even want to talk about that shit at this point, because that shit sucks so bad. So we're just going to speed right past it. And what I do want to talk about is some of the league's most surprising teams, as we've seen a few teams shock the NBA world and be much better than we predicted. So, Joe, I'm kicking it to you first on this one, man. Who is your most surprising team in the NBA for the first half of the season?
I mean, realistically, you close your eyes, point at the top 3 spots in the Western Conference, and any one of those teams could fit that bill. Here's the thing, though. I can't be surprised by the Clippers because I picked the Clippers at the beginning of the year to be a surprise team anyway. So here they are, absolutely showing out. Everyone's healthy. They're playing out of their damn minds before the All-Star break, and they're, what, 3rd right now? Sitting there only, 2.5 games? Yeah, or 2 games back of the one spot there. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say it had to be one of the first 2. It's either going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, we knew the Thunder were going to be good. Chet Holmgren's healthy, SGA's playing out of his mind like he always does. But they're a young team. We didn't know how good they would be. We honestly thought, I thought, a 5-6 seed was realistic for them. They're playing significantly better than that. They're bidding for the 1 seed right now in the West. And if the Wolves didn't have one of the best defense in the league, maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder would be right there. And they still are right there because they can just score out of their mind. So I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder on this one. I think they have been playing way, way above their age. They have been showing a lot of heart. And I think that, this might be, well, for what we thought, the Denver Nuggets didn't get any better in the offseason. They kind of stayed where they were, but they still were the favorites out of the West. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it is a clear cut that they might just be in a little bit of trouble here, because there are 3 teams that if they don't get back on track and somehow get the 1 seed, which means they're still in reaching distance too. I think they're 3 games back. Yeah, 3 games.
2.5. Yeah.
I'm seeing 3 on ESPN. Anyway, they're right there. I mean, this is a tight race, and the Nuggets got to hope for home court, because I don't think they can go on the road in 2 series here and win. I just don't see it. Like you're talking, that's going to be tough to go, especially with the way the Clippers are playing, the way that the Oklahoma City Thunder are playing, the way the Timberwolves are playing right now. If the Nuggets have to go to either of, draw a straw, I don't know if I like them to win that series in 7, because I think that any one of those teams could take them to 7 right now. And, that's kind of the way it's looking. I mean, the Nuggets are, they're not the defensive team we saw. They're not really scoring a lot, so they're kind of in the middle of the pack in both of those categories. The Clippers are scoring and playing better defense. The Oklahoma City Thunder are significantly outscoring them and playing better defense. And like I said, the Timberwolves, that's the best defense in the league right now. So I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the West is going to be, that's the conference to watch right now. I think that is probably going to be some of the best basketball we have seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Joe, there's a lot of great teams at the top of the West. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit about the Nuggets because I think they've just been kind of coasting through this regular season. I think they go up against especially inexperienced playoff teams like Minnesota and Oklahoma City. I'm still going to pick Denver. I'm still going to pick them. Although the Clippers series, like you mentioned, that's going to be a lot more entertaining than I thought it would be. I'm going to get to it later about how I was wrong about the Clippers. I did not think that was going to go well, and it has gone swimmingly well as of late. So shout out to the Clippers and for them getting their stuff together. But yeah, it's definitely one of those top two teams at the top of the West who've been the most surprising. I know Ciso wasn't surprised about the Thunder. You were big on the Thunder before the season, but Ciso, give me your most surprising team in the NBA so far this season.
Yeah, I feel like, Matt, if you ask that question to the entire NBA world, all of the fans, they're going to say the Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. But I already knew the Thunder was going to be good. I said it, yes. I even said the Timberwolves would be good. I predicted that at the beginning of the season in our episodes. But what I want to say is I think the Clippers is the most surprising team to me because I didn't expect them to be healthy and I didn't expect them to gel this well. We was talking about it in our previous episodes. I was talking a lot of shit. I called them the basement team. So I just want to admit I was wrong. I was so wrong. Joe was right.
There it is.
I give it to him.
That's all I want to hear, man.
But the thing is, Joe is so big on health, and the top two players for the Clippers always get hurt, and he's just gotten lucky that they've both stayed healthy.
You got hella lucky.
Hey, man. You know what? Blind dog finds water every now and then. Okay.
Very blind dog.
But they got 4 Hall of Famers though. Like, we're surprised that they've been at this healthy. Then Ty Lue is a great coach. I just feel like, to me, they're the most surprising team, I would say, to me. But also, who I thought that underachieved last year, so I'm gonna go to the other conference, the Eastern Conference, who I thought underachieved, the Cavaliers. I felt like they had all of the pieces to be a good team, but they've been playing exceptional these last 20 games. They 18-2. They've been whooping ass. So I'm surprised by them too. I didn't think they would be the number 2 seed coming to the halfway point of the season. So those are my 2 teams, the Clippers and the Cavaliers. I love Donovan Mitchell, by the way, but I didn't expect him to be the number 2 seed.
Yeah, Donovan's been cooking, man. The Cavs have looked really, really good. I like their offseason additions. I still thought they were probably 1 year away from, really contending for a title. And I think that's still probably the case as far as like competing for a championship, but they've looked really, really good so far this year. So they're up there. Obviously, I'm shocked by the Clippers too. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, but I'm going to talk about Minnesota. I mean, listen, I was trying to look for another team, but this one was like obvious for me. Like, I loved Ant. I still love Ant. But preseason, I hated this team. I didn't think Gobert or Towns would fit. Wasn't really in love with the rest of their role players, and I thought it could fall apart pretty easily just because I didn't think the personalities were going to gel. But they've gelled perfectly so far. Their defense, far and away the best in basketball right now. Number 1 in defensive rating and allowing the fewest points in the NBA. That's because they have elite perimeter and wing defenders. With Ant, obviously gets talked about a lot for his offensive ability. That dude is a dog on defense. He is just about as good as it gets as a perimeter defender. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, also a really good perimeter defender. Then you got Jalen McDaniels, one of the best, most versatile defenders in the league. And then obviously you got Rudy Gobert having a much better year 2, cleaning up any messes that the guards leave for him, which isn't very many. Where I still think the Rudy Gobert trade is one of the worst in sports history, but it has been looking better this year. Now, do I think this is a championship contending team? I'm not convinced. They do have the second best record in point differential in the league, only to the Celtics. So those numbers would say yes, and they have looked like it so far. But playoff basketball is different, and the lack of experience from some of their main players does concern me. But no doubt they have had an awesome start to the season so far, and they deserve their flowers. But for me, I'm shocked. I didn't think that they would get to this point at all. So shout out to the Timberwolves, and shout out to all the teams who are overperforming expectations so far. That's what makes the NBA a beautiful thing. But we got to move to what makes the NBA not a beautiful thing. With surprising teams also comes disappointing teams, and there has been a few of those as well. So, Ciso, I am kicking it to you, man. Give me your most disappointing team for the first half of the NBA season.
I feel like both of you guys know where I'm going go with this. Like, Lakers is my most disappointing team. I don't even want to talk about them really, but man, I mean, the last 7 games, they 6-1, so they've been turning it around. But it's like we went to the Western Conference Finals last year. Come this time last year, we made good trades. We got in good position to get ourselves to the Western Conference Finals. I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm gonna say we, even though I don't play. But it's like, how the hell are we 9th seed? I understand we're missing a few players. I'm just disappointed. I feel like the Lakers shouldn't be fighting to get into the play-in. Like, they got the greatest player of all time. Anthony Davis is playing like probably the best he played in his career, like consistently. He's been healthy, 40 double-doubles already, like, and we're at the halfway point. He made it to be an all-star this year, and I would say, in my opinion, he got a chance to win a defensive player of the year.
Yes,
the way he unlocked the dog. I just hope he can stay healthy, but I'm still just disappointed in the Lakers because I think we should be better than where we are right now. Also disappointed in the Warriors, the 9th and 10th seed. Like, both of these teams, like, I like Draymond Green, like. The antics is like, it's getting out of hand, bro. Like, I love Draymond Green. I mean, I hated him at first, but but if we talking about IQ, like, if we just being realistic, one of the smartest players to ever play the game, for sure. 4-time All-Star, 4-time champion, defensive player of the year. Like, he got the accolades. Like Gilbert Arenas said it. He got the accolades to back up the talk. Like, he got it. But it's like, he's the reason why they are where they are. If he's on the floor, he's available, they might be in a better position than where they are right now. Right. So, and yeah, those are my 2 disappointing teams, the Warriors and the Lakers.
Yeah, both definitely overall have been disappointing. Like you mentioned, though, CeeSo, Lakers have been better as of late. Warriors have been better as of late too. They've come on the last, couple weeks before the All-Star break. So, but yeah, those are 2 teams that you expect a lot more out of, especially with their best players being, 2 of the probably 10 greatest players of all time, and LeBron James and Steph Curry. So I will take a victory lap on one thing I've been wrong about a lot on this year, but I'm going to take a victory lap on Anthony Davis. I was trying to tell everybody about AD before the season, about how he was his defensive player of the year capabilities. I had him winning defensive player of the year, and I think that's exactly what he should be. He has been dominant. He's like 25-12 and 2.5 blocks in the steal. So he's been one of the 10 best players in basketball, and that's what I said he was, and everybody got mad at me for that. So I'm going to take a victory lap when I can take a victory lap, damn it. 80 is top 10. But I'm going to Joe. Joe, give me your thoughts, man. Who is the most disappointing team in the NBA this first half of the season?
I like CeeSo's picks. I'm also kind of bummed out with how the Kings have looked. I thought the Kings would be riding pretty high. I thought they'd be doing pretty well. They're the 8 seed. Realistically, the bottom 3 teams who are making the playoffs right now in the West, you could easily say all 3 of them have been kind of disappointments from where they were the previous year. I mean, I kind of knew that there'd be some regression. I kind of knew that. I mean, I said that at least 1, if not 2 of the teams that made the playoffs last year would not make it this year. So far, the Grizzlies are done. I'm right there with them. And I knew that was going to be a shit show because they weren't going to have Ja. Marcus Smart's great, but he's been hurt and dealing with injuries and everything like that. Defensively he's good, but yeah, they just don't have anything else if Ja's not on the floor. And you're kind of seeing that now, that it's, when he's there, he's great. When he's not, he's not. And his availability is always one of the things that I've kind of knocked Ja on, because it's not something that usually that's injury related. It's personal choices and decision making off the court. That's the reason why he's not there. But and this is going to be kind of a hot topic about what I'm about to say. The Milwaukee Bucks should be right on the Celtics' ass. They have. Let me just give you some numbers real quick. All right, their strength of schedule is 28.484. They should be absolutely dominating everybody they go up against. Here's the problem. Their defense is the 23rd best defense in the NBA. They're in the bottom. They're in the bottoms. They're at the bottom. The only teams below them are the Hornets, Spurs, Jazz, Pistons, Pacers, Hawks, and Wizards. 2 playoff teams, Hawks and Pacers. That's it. Everyone else is already planning for the draft because they're not making it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Whoa, what are you saying about the Spurs, bro?
Hey man, I love Wemby. He's probably going to win. He's got the best chance to win Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year since forever. All right. So I love Wemby. I had high hopes for Wemby in the Spurs at the beginning of the year. You can go back and look at that video.
Higher hopes than I did. That was crazy.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I picked Pop to be a dark horse Coach of the Year candidate when they made the playoffs, and that's not happening. He let me down.
No shot. Yeah.
He let me down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, but I feel the same way about the 76ers. Like, your strength of schedule is not that hard. Like, I if you look at the strength
So what
of
you're
schedule,
saying, Joe, is the script is not working for those guys. No,
nah, man. Like, the Philadelphia 76ers have the weakest strength of schedule in the NBA, 0.479. That's number 30. The only team, the next two teams are Phoenix, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. Those are the bottom four strengths of schedule the remaining part of the year. So they have the easiest strength of schedule, and you're 6 or more games behind the Celtics, who had one of the hardest opening the year and absolutely just went there with zero bench depth, right? Like, we were all concerned about the Celtics bench depth, and it hasn't been a problem because it doesn't matter who's not playing, who is playing. They just, the starting five is going to drop 85 on you, and they just, or more, and they just need maybe like 20 off the bench, and they get it because they can, because there's 3 guys that can drop 30 on a given night. And you can't guard them because they're all freaks. Like, I don't like, this is who it is. This is the way it is. So I'm disappointed with a lot in the East, realistically. And it's sad because the teams I'm talking about, the Milwaukee Bucks, they're the 3 seed, but they're 8.5 games back. The 76ers, they're the 10, or they're the 5 seed. They're 10.5 games back. The Pacers, I was hoping they would get some defensive help because they need it. And they're the 6 seed, and they're 12.5 games back. And, the Celtics, you're talking about how the Nuggets are kind of coasting. The Celtics could essentially coast because they have a really easy remainder schedule. I think they're like 13th. It's not hard. And they're still going to hold on to the 1 seed. There's I don't see a way that any of these teams catch them because they're not playing good defense. They're barely outscoring, they're barely scoring enough to win games comparatively to how many points they're giving up. I think the Bucks are only a +3. The 76ers are a +4.4. The Pacers are a +1.4 differential. So, I mean, as much as I want to sit here and rag on, the Sacramento Kings, the Lakers, and the Warriors, the Lakers, I kind of expect they would be a play-in team. The Warriors, I actually picked them not to make the playoffs. I thought they would miss out on the play-in. The Kings, that one's tough for me because I'm a Kings fan, so I'm going to be biased here and say I'm disappointed, but not as much as I am in Milwaukee. We were very critical of the trade for Dame. We're like, sure, he scores 30. But he's going to give up 30. At least when you had,
Drew Holiday.
Sorry about that. I got brain fog.
He's on your team now.
I know. He's playing out of his mind. Thank you for that. Thank you, Milwaukee. At least you knew that like he was going to, he could give you a triple double. He could give you the assist. He was going to be solid on defense. He was going to give you 20 points. And he was going to lock down the other point guard. You trade for Dame because you feel like you're not getting enough points. And now your defense is one of the worst in the league. And Milwaukee was built on defense. So what do? You go out and you get, God, why am I doing this right now?
Pat Bev.
Yeah, you go out and get Pat Bev. And I love Pat Bev. I think he's a defensive animal. But that was like 3.5 years ago. I mean, he's getting old, man. And then you're like, you had the 3rd best record and you fired your coach for Doc Rivers, who we all have been critical of Doc Rivers when it comes to game 7s. We've all been critical of Doc Rivers on his resume when it's essentially, since the only time he's ever won anything, he was, for lack of a better word, carried. As a Celtics fan, let's be real here. You had 4 Hall of Famers on that roster, arguably 5, and you won 1 ring. And you probably should have won 2. Hell, you probably should have won 3.
You should have won 3 for sure.
Should have won more than 1.
No, yeah. Matter of fact, yeah.
So, I mean, the Milwaukee, just everything they do confuses me. And I don't understand it. I really don't. And I think Giannis wanted help and he complained to them, and that led them down this road where they were just grasping at anything and everything to possibly make it look like they were doing something to help him. Right. And I think the issue is, from a GM perspective, you have to listen to your stars, but you also have to be smart enough to know what's going to help and what's going to hurt. And I think the Dame trade in the end is going to hurt, because you can't just outscore everybody in the playoffs. It doesn't work that way. You might win a round, you might advance, but at the end of the day, you're not winning a championship this way.
It'll be tough. I mean, it's going to be tough for them. They obviously have. I mean, I'm about to talk about them too as being my most disappointing team. But they just haven't lived up to expectations. The offense is really good, but like you mentioned, the defense has not been there whatsoever. But I mean, first one for me is Memphis. I mean, I had them in the West Finals this year, and again, maybe that was a bridge too far, but we'll never know because their injuries were ridiculous. In a game versus Boston a few weeks back, 13 of their 15 contracted players were hurt. They're playing some guys that I think even the most dedicated NBA fans didn't even know existed as human beings. So it's crazy. And then obviously they traded Steven Adams and Xavier Tillman for a little more draft capital as well. So I think they could make a run at a star this offseason, or, just another really good role player or something like that, and then be in a good spot next year. But this year is a wash for them for the injuries. But I mean, it's the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, they've got to be the most disappointing team so far. I've been disappointed in them this year so far. Might sound crazy to anyone who hasn't been watching, because even with all the upheaval, they're still third in the East. But anyone who's been watching knows it just hasn't looked or felt right all year. The offense has been close to what we expected. They're scoring the second most points in the league, and they're fifth in offensive rating. But the defense have been even worse than what I expected, at least 17th in defensive rating this year. And as a team, they're 11th in net rating, which says they're the 11th best team in basketball, which is way lower than they should be. And I had them firmly in the finals this year, and I'm still sticking. Yeah. I'm gonna stick with them just because I don't move off my picks. I'm sticking with them, but the chemistry just hasn't been there. And Dane hasn't been quite himself offensively either. I think adjusting that number 2 role has kind of gotten to him as well. Maybe, a little bit of age catching up with him as well. And like Joe mentioned, his perimeter defense is like really bad, like really, really, really bad. Like he just lets guys go straight to the rim. And that's making things so much harder on those interior guys like Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis. And like we just talked about, they are missing Drew Holiday badly in that regard. Plus, I didn't like bringing in Doc Rivers. Every talented team he's had has underachieved, and this looks like it's going to be another one just like the ones before. So there is a lot to be disappointed about in Milwaukee. There's no doubt about that.
The only other disappointing thing when it comes to talent, it may be Phoenix. But I already knew Phoenix was going to be.
They've been playing well, though.
They've been playing okay. I mean, they're not great. But also just said they had one of the weakest strength of schedules, So.
Yeah.
They had their early season injury excuses too, because they had the first 30 games. It was no Beal, Booker, and KD didn't play together at all. But yeah, we knew that was going to happen too. So yeah, they haven't been that disappointing. I don't think anybody here really thought the Suns were going to make a run or anything like that. I think we were all kind of they're going to be what they are, like the 5th, 6th seed. They're going to make the playoffs, first, second round exit. So yeah, I don't think they're most disappointing from us, but Milwaukee's it for me. They've got to be the most disappointing team in the NBA. But let's move on to individual players, because we've seen some of these guys take their games to a new level this year and cement themselves amongst the NBA's best. So Joe, I'm going to kick it to you, man. Give me a breakout player in the NBA this year that you've taken note of.
I mean, God, I'd be remiss if I didn't go with your earlier statement. Anthony Edwards, I mean, I knew how good he was. I expected him to take ownership of that team sooner. I felt like that was his team. I think that it's clearly his team now, and he's dominating. Like, if it wasn't for Anthony Edwards, I would already have penciled in freaking God, I'm doing this again.
I don't even know who you're talking about now.
Spurs. your guy. Wembanyama, yeah, I would have penciled Wemby in for Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Ant is the only reason why I cannot do that right now. And it's kind of, I expected this eventually. I expected it actually sooner, but he's dominating right now. And I think the only other person I could actually mention, and it's sad that I don't think he's going to be in the running for any award because of how many games he's missed, and it's kind of been a thing for him. Therese Halliburton, I mean, honestly, the way he's been playing, and you think about, everyone's going to complain about this 65 game rule. I love the 65 game rule.
Me too.
I mean, everyone's like, oh, the best players aren't getting the awards. If the best players deserve the award, they would have played 65 games. I understand injuries happen, but if you look at any other sport, we take into account how many games they played. Standard. The NBA is the only league where we don't take that into account. Like he shot this percentage from the field. Yeah, he played 65. He played 62 games. He played 20 games less than everybody else. That's what, if you think about how the Stars take on average 15 to 25 shots a game, and he played 20 games less. That's literally 500 shots that guy didn't take.
Well, too, that's like 25% of the season, so 25% of the season, you're providing zero value. And two, you look at all the MVPs that's really been given out over the history of the NBA, like they don't give MVPs to guys who played less than 65 games anyway. So people being mad about the 65 game rule, it's like they're not going to give you the MVP anyway if you play 61 games.
Right.
So,
I think it's mainly casual fans who get mad at that, because
casual fans and players who have it written in their contract, it's like, hey, you get a bonus.
Right.
Yeah,
but I feel like as a fan of the game, that we've been looking. We always looked at that. Like,
100%.
That's we can't like, especially us. We can't stand behind a player if we know he hasn't played a lot of games. I mean we still will, but. But we're not gonna win that debate.
We'll give the if healthy preface before it. Like that's what I had to do with AD before the year. Like if he stays healthy, he's gonna be really good. So
and so I actually like Ant. I think he's got an argument for MVP for that team, because he does have them playing very well. The only issue is I don't think he's going to get it. I think that there's too many big names that have played the minimum requirement of games that people are going to get focused on, but he deserves it. He should be MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and he's going to be in that conversation. And I really think he should be. I think, Therese Halliburton would have been my list if he had played more games. I think that, Embiid was on a tear, but once again, didn't play enough games. And I think, like I said, we always talk about how I'm a big availability guy. And, I love to see all those old heads over there in the Clippers, because that's what they are now. They're old heads, right? They're on the back nine, and they're all playing out of their mind. I mean, I literally the other day dug out. I had missing these shoes for 4 years, man. Ever since I got out of the Navy, they were packed in a box, couldn't find them. I pulled out my Paul Georges the other day, man. Slid them right on my feet. Yeah, I mean, I got a set, bro. Like, I love them shoes, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Ant. As much as it pains me, I would love to, give a shout out to my boy Tatum here. I think Tatum's playing out of his mind right now, but Ant we knew what the Celtics were going to be. We guessed what the Timberwolves could be. And without Ant playing the level he's playing right now and on both sides of the floor, the Wolves are not where they're at. So I'm going to give him his flowers, give him his credit. It's Anthony Edwards for me.
Yeah, Ant's been great. I mean, I think we all saw the ceiling with Ant and how great he could be, but he's been better than a lot of us expected. I know for me, you just look at his numbers, he's been a little bit overrated offensively. Like, we don't talk about other guys who have been better. Like, we don't talk about like we mentioned him today, but we don't talk about Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's been a lot better offensively, but the reason why Ant is so great is because he's super underrated defensively, and he can guard anybody's best player on the wing. So yeah, that's what Anthony Edwards is a really good selection there from you, Joe. Cecil, I'm going to kick it to you, man. Give me a breakout player that's caught your eye this first half of the season.
Damn, Joe mentioning Anthony Edwards, it makes me don't even want to mention my player, because he's not even he's not even of that caliber. But I've seen some growth in his game, and like the guy is averaging 10 points more than he averaged last season. It's Kobe White. I think I've been watching the Bulls. I'm from Chicago, so I gotta watch him every now and then, even though I hated the Bulls growing up. But I like Kobe White. We all know how it is in the NBA. Sometimes an injury is sad, but it could be a blessing in disguise for another player who's ready. When their number get called, they're ready. Like he's averaging 10 more points a game. Of course he's playing more minutes, but yeah, I think Kobe White, he's been killing right now with Zach LaVine and them not having Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bulls are in the 9th seed right now, so they're not like looking to contend or anything. But I wouldn't expect them to be the 9th seed without Zach LaVine. He's been out, but I just feel like Kobe White he gonna win Most Improved Player of the Year. That's what.
Yeah,
I for sure.
Yeah, Kobe White's been really, really nice. You watch him, he gets hot quick. Like he's someone who can heat up and start going off. Like Kobe White's a fun player to watch. And like you mentioned, with the guard logjam that they had with the Bulls, where it's DeRozan and Levine and Ayo Dosunmu and Caruso, and if Lonzo was there, it would have been tough for him to get runs. So yeah, with Levine and Lonzo being out, it's given Kobe White a chance to shine, and he's done really, really well with his opportunity. But the guy who I want to talk about, he's not really even a breakout player, but I just want to talk about him because his year is getting slept on, and it's that guy on the Kings, Joe's favorite team, Sabonis. I mean, we got to talk about Sabonis. This guy didn't make the All-Star team, and I don't know who I would have replaced him with, but listen to this guy's numbers, okay? 20 points per game on 62% shooting. That's the best field goal percentage in the league for anyone taking 10 or more shots per game, okay? 13 rebounds per game, which leads the NBA, and then 8 assists per game as well, which is 6th in the NBA from your setter. For context, only Halliburton, Trae Young, Jokic, Luka, and James Harden are averaging more assists per game than Domantas Sabonis right now. He is doing absolutely crazy things. Plus, he leads the league both with double-doubles at 50. He's got 37 double-doubles in a row, which is crazy, and triple-doubles at 18. And again, he didn't make the All-Star team. That shows you how good the Western Conference is. And again, the fact they're the 8th seed, but they're only like a game and a half out of the 5th seed shows kind of the quality of the Western Conference. But again, he's not really a breakout guy. I just kind of wanted to talk about Sabonis because he's been great and he hasn't been talked about a lot. And I've been critical of him before too because of last year's postseason versus Golden State. I thought Draymond and Looney punked him a little bit, exposed him a little bit in the playoffs. But again, we'll see how he is come playoff time. But right now, he's playing awesome. And we got to give Sabonis some love because the numbers he's putting up right now are ridiculous. He's putting up numbers that are out of this world, and he's got to take some credit for that. But again, with breakout players come players that have not lived up to the hype or have gotten worse or have been worse than we previously thought. So, Ciso, I'm kicking it to you, man. Which player who has regressed concerns you the most?
I gotta say, I mean, I expected this player to come out averaging 30 points a game.
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going, man. I feel like nobody's regressed more than Jordan Poole. Like,
dude,
Jordan Poole it's been like an atrocity. It's been like,
what the fuck,
bro? It's worse than we knew it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Shenanigans when he got to the Wizards, but come on, bro. Like,
dude,
this is like, this shows that, I don't know, man. This shows that like a lot of players are better in like good systems. Like, we thought that he was going to be the star to come take over the Wizards. You have nobody else to shoot the rock but you. It's like, I'm looking at his game log. It's been games where he only took like 5 shots or less. He's played 25 minutes, but took 5 shots or less as the star player on that team. The man, I think he dropped 5 points a game. Like, he dropped in every category except for
everything.
Steals. He dropped in every category except for steals, but yeah, I expected him to be a lot better than he is this season.
Man, I expected the Wizards record to be exactly what it is right now, but like you said, I expected Jordan Poole to have double the amount of points per game that he has right now, just because, again, it's him and Kuzma over there to take shots, and he just has been horrible. Like, it's you watch the highlights, it's like he doesn't even know where he's at half the time. It's insane, the downfall of Jordan Poole this first half of the season. But Joe, I'm kicking it to you, man. Which player that has regressed so far this season concerns you the most?
I mean, it's hard to really pick one because it seems like every time I'm ready to write them off, they come out and they drop 30.
Right.
Like they move Klay Thompson to the bench.
Right.
And he comes out and just dominates,
crazy.
and I was so ready to write off Klay Thompson, man. He was going to be my pick. And then he comes out and does that. And I'm like, he still got it, man. He's still
got something. Yeah.
And it's like, maybe he needed to move the bench. We've seen it work for teams before, but I mean, there's a lot of big names. Chris Middleton has kind of been sort of that guy for me a little bit here and there. Cause you expected him, sure. He was coming off an injury, things of that nature. Same thing with Klay.
Minutes restriction too.
Yeah. And you're like, maybe he'll get it going later. And I keep like waiting for these guys to go. But I mean, how can you not go with Jordan Poole? like how, like, as much as I, like, I'm disappointed in how some of these guys are playing. I'm disappointed, in Jaw a little bit, it's injury more than it is anything else, in the 25 game suspension, and he didn't play. And it's just like, bro, you did some of it to yourself. And who's to say, because you missed those 25 games and you came in, you rushed in, maybe you should have been on minutes restriction. Who's to say, like, what kind of condition he was in? Did that lead to an injury? Jordan Poole, when he left Golden State, we were all like, he's getting a brand new start. He's getting away from Draymond. That was a bad fit for him. And then you realize why Draymond punched him in the head. Like shit, dude. We all understand why you got your ass clowned on, all right? Like, you got smacked upside the head because you're a little shit, bro.
Dude, like, Superman punched.
Dude, like, you are without a
Roman
doubt
Reigns
into another state,
bro. And in all honesty, like, we expected, and just the shit he does on the court.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like,
KG was talking about it. He was saying, like, not knowing the plays, and
and he said, like, I'm the leader of this team. I don't need you to tell me what's going on there. And he go out there and he doesn't even know what he's running. Yeah. No. Like, they run the play and he's like, what the fuck is that?
You saw the video of him in the huddle, right? Too, like, he was just going around doing random shit, not paying attention. Like, bro, what do you, like, what? How is that okay? Like,
professionals. He comes from elite professionals. Like,
we should give Steph Curry an extra ring for winning a ring with Jordan Poole. Like, that's crazy.
Here's the craziest thing too. Like, I honestly hated Ben Simmons for the longest time, right? I think Jordan Poole is Ben Simmons 2.0. Got paid a shit ton of money.
Plays, though.
I mean, true.
Jordan Poole's on the court.
Ben Simmons been playing a little bit this year. He a little bit. He played more than he has the last 4 years.
Yeah, playing one game is more than
when you start at the bottom, right?
But I
mean, I didn't even want to bring him up.
Right?
I forgot you were on Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Like, but you know what I mean? It's the same shit. Like, you look at this dude who's out there on the basketball court just being a clown, and you're like, why? How did that guy? Like, I mean, dude, pay me. I'll go out there and throw bricks up all day and not pay attention to the huddles. I can do that.
What, like $35 million for Jordan Poole right now too?
Bro, I'll tell you what, give me 10%. 10% a year, I'll go out there and do the same shit. I swear to God. Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, man. And I think that, like, somehow he looks at the rings on his hand and thinks that he got them or something. There's something where he looks himself in the mirror and thinks that he's the reason they won. Bro, you're not. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, the guy who smacked you upside your head, is more important to that team. Like, that tells you something, right? You got punched.
And you got out of there.
And you got sent somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Because they valued the guy who hit you upside the head more than they valued your punk.
And it's sad. It's sad because we see why they kept Draymond.
Yeah. And, like, Draymond still, it's like, man, I don't know why they kept him. But then you look at Jordan Poole and it's like, well, I know why they got rid of that motherfucker.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's such a crazy situation, dude. Like you said, I never thought about that. He got punched in the face and then he got traded. Like, that's right? Like, you don't get much more down worse than that. Like, that's really, really bad. But listen, I mean, I got a guy in a new situation too that I would have thought would have been good for him. That's also been bad. DeAndre Ayton. He's also been really disappointing too. But he's not the main one that I want to talk about. At least DeAndre Ayton's averaging a double-double and that team competes a little bit. We're going to make this a 3-for-3 clean sweep. I got Jordan Poole too. I think Draymond knocked all the talent out of him with that Superman punch. Like, I don't know what the hell happened to Jordan Poole. He's not even the leading option, in my opinion. I think they're the worst team in basketball. I think the Pistons are going to finish with a better record than them. They've at least been coming on a little bit as of late. But the team has the second worst record of basketball and second worst point differential in the league, and is the worst team in the league defensively. But he's not even leading the team in scoring. That was supposed to be his thing that was supposed to skyrocket. This man is averaging 15.6 points per game. And it's even worse than that because it might be the least efficient 15.6 points per game ever, maybe, of 142 qualified shooters. I had to look this up. I looked up who had the worst field goal percentage in the league, right? You can click you can like click the bar to like, to whatchamacallit, filter for field goal percentage. And obviously, the top will have like all the bigs just dunking the ball. And then you click it again to filter for the worst. Jordan Poole has the worst field goal percentage of the 142 qualified shooters in the NBA. He's shooting 40% from the field. Okay. And of the 164 qualified 3-point shooters in the league, he's currently 162nd. So he's third worst in the league that's shooting threes. He's shooting 30% from the league. He's also got the fourth worst plus minus in the entire NBA this season. So I don't know if it was the punch from Draymond or the 500K date with Ice Spice that led to this man's downfall, but it's got to be studied, okay? Because this is going to make a hell of a research paper, Jordan Poole's downfall. It is absolutely insane. He's literally might be the worst player in basketball this year after being, a key cog to a championship team. It is absolutely insane what's happened to Jordan Poole. I don't know if there's been anything like it. But yeah, it's a clean sweep, a 3 for 3 from us. Like it's Jordan Poole without a doubt.
I mean, it's funny, right? Like it's a lot easier to shoot them threes when you got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson playing next to you, isn't it? All the you're catching all those wide open shot passes and everything like that. He can take his time, catch his breath. It's different when you're the number one guy out there, Jordan. Ain't that easy no more, is it? You don't have 2 Hall of Famers on either side of you jacking up threes with you, do you?
With respect to Kuzma and Denny Avdia, that's not Steph, Klay, and Draymond.
Yeah,
real shit. But it's bad when you average more coming off a bench than you just starting to get.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. He be getting pulled in a lot of these games. Like it's crazy. So yeah, I think Jordan Poole has got to be the most disappointing player for anybody in the NBA. I don't know if we were expecting him to be like great. We were kind of just expecting him to be, a big time scorer on a terrible team, but he has been not even close to that. It's been insane for Jordan Poole. But let's finish this Brickhouse episode by giving you a ranking, and it's not just any ordinary ranking. We're giving you the top 3 contenders to win the NBA championship, because there are a lot of teams who look like they can make a run this year, but obviously only one can be a champion. But we're going to give you our 3 best options to win the NBA title. So, Joe, I'm going to kick it to you first on this one, man. Rate your top 3 NBA championship contenders.
My top 3. So, at number 1, defense wins championships. And as of right now, I'm going to say my number 1 contender is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Wow.
I think Ant and the defense they're playing, if they can keep it going, right? Defense wins championships, right?
Yeah.
If you can lock down teams, which they have shown that they can. I mean, they're the best defense in the league, and it's not particularly close. They're the only team to hold their opposing teams below 107 points. Everybody else is 109 or higher. Like it's crazy how good they are on the defensive side of the ball right now. And they're also not bad on the offensive side of the ball. They're putting up 114 points, right? I think they have one of the highest, if not the highest point differential in the league outside of the West.
Outside of Boston, yeah.
Outside of Boston, who is absolutely dominating everybody. And their points against is probably a little bloated considering the fact that they're absolutely blowing people the fuck out. Like it's insane. So I'm gonna go with the Wolves because they're playing really good defense. The Celtics are my number 2. Just because, I think that as long as their top 5 can continue to play this way, play the defense. I mean, you talk about their guards, you got, freaking Drew Holiday and, why am I doing this again?
Derek White. Jesus.
Jeez. God,
that's your
man.
team. What do you like?
Dude, I am on one right now, dude. I'm telling you, I got brain fog. I don't know what's going on with me, bro. I need some W. I ordered it, dude. It's on the way. Trust me. I need some focus right now.
You better get it in quick.
Yeah, right. So
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, Derek White, and Tatum, Porzingis, Tingus Pingus. I love that fucking
that's my favorite
game, man.
Yeah.
Brown, and then you got Horford is right there. So they got a solid 6. And I think, they really don't need their bench to do much besides spell these guys. And Peyton Pritchard, he's streaky. He's got some games in him. So I think they can do it. Cornette's been playing well. How the fuck do I remember Cornette, but I don't remember Derek White? Are we fucking serious right now? All right. But, so I'm going to give them number 2. And number 3, as much as I want it to be the Clippers, they've been hot recently. I still think that they're going to be healthy going into the playoffs, but, it's going to be, remains to be seen. I'm going to go the Nuggets. I think you can't have a top 3 without defending champs in it right now. Like you said, they're probably coasting. I don't think they need to play, solid hardcore basketball right now. And when it comes to playoffs, you're going to see a different Nuggets team. You just are, you are right. And, So I'm going to give them the 3 right now, which is exactly where they're at in the West. They're the 3, or are they the 4? They're the 3.
They're the 4. They're the 4.
Yeah, they're the 4. The Clippers get my honorable mention. I think the West has more contending talent right now than the East does. I think you could give a dark horse mention to Cleveland. The Knicks, I just don't have a lot of faith in them. Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in the Knicks being able to match up. But it's crazy to think that I named 5 teams, and the Bucks and the 76ers weren't even in the conversation.
Crazy,
isn't that wild?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my top 3, man. I'm gonna give the Wolves their flowers again. I think that Ant is going to win Defensive Player of the Year and probably be in the top 3. Should be in the top 3 in MVP voting, in my opinion. And then it's going to go Celtics and Nuggets. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned with the Wolves, I mean, that defense wins championships. They've been really, really good, and obviously they've got a guy who they can go to down the stretch in Anthony Edwards. They got a guy in Cat who can score 60 on a given night. We saw that this year. Everybody's scoring 60 apparently now, but Cat can drop 60 on them, and so they've got
a stretch. I feel like 60 today.
Yeah, crazy. Everybody dropping a ton of points. So yeah, it's been wild, but yeah, I mean they're definitely up there. Ciso, I'm kicking it to you, man. Give me your top 3 championship contenders right now.
Before I get my top 3, I just want to say, Joe, when you say Ant, you mean Anthony Davis winning the Defensive Player of the Year?
Facts.
Anthony, that's what I'm thinking.
Absolutely the fuck not.
Man, he's been killing on the defensive end.
He's been okay.
My top 3.
I can't give it to a Laker, man.
You can't give it to a Laker.
I will never give it to a
Laker. Right. But I'm going to go. Our list is kind of similar, Joe, but I got to go to defending champs at number 1. I feel like last season they were they still landed number 1 seed, but at the end of that last season, it was rough for the Nuggets. They was losing to the Spurs, the Rockets. They were losing.
Man, Spurs strays today. Damn.
Yeah, damn. Spurs was the Spurs are the Spurs right now, bro.
Yeah. But who they are who we thought they were.
But
playoffs.
I feel like when we like that run that Jokic put on last postseason is still stuck in my head, man. I just I can't get it out. Like we all know playoff basketball is different than regular season basketball.
Yes.
We know it's going to be about the half court and who is better in the half court. Who's the best player right now that's going to be the best in the half court come postseason time? It's Nikola Jokic. Like, I feel like
doubles, man. He's gonna be triple double, just nonstop in the playoffs.
Then Murray turns it on in the playoffs.
Man, every time. It's
every
crazy.
time, bro. Like, I don't want to see those two guys. I'm as a Lakers fan, I don't want to see them right away. So I'm glad I feel like they're coasting because, man, they can beat any of those teams.
Yep.
In that first round, they don't want to see the Nuggets. So I got them number 1. At number 2, I got the C's at number 2. Like, I feel like, to me, Jason Tatum could be the MVP right now. Like, he got a strong case. And I feel like he like, people forget how young this guy is. like they've been to the Eastern Conference. Eastern Conference Finals is nothing to them. They go
every year.
Get there. They go.
That's all in a day's work, man.
That's like, and let me give you guys an interesting stat. Joe Mazzulla, a regular season game, the man is 137. Like,
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Like, god damn. 100, but postseason 11-9. That's why I have them. That's why I have them too, because I feel like they just gotta. I feel like they gotta show me that they can get over that hump, that Eastern Conference Finals. It's crazy that we don't have the Bucks there, but I got the Celtics too. At 3, I gotta give it to the Clippers. I feel like they look like they're gonna all be healthy because of how much talent they got. They get the rest of their guys. Like,
crazy, man. Because nobody wants. Like you were saying, nobody wants to see Jokic and Murray in the playoffs. Could you imagine looking across and you got a healthy PG, healthy Kawhi, healthy Harden, And then Westbrook sitting on the bench like,
on the bench.
I'm going to come out and drop 20 on you as soon as they give me some minutes. You just wait. Just wait.
The rotation slows down.
Yeah.
Norman Powell. Oh, my God. Cooking. Like, look, it's the rotation slows down in the postseason. We got 8, maximum is 8 guys, right? So we know players get tired in the postseason. Then you got Westbrook coming with that energy off the bench. That's gonna be pivotal.
He's a dog too in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like you want to talk about a guy who turns on the playoffs. That like I know they lost to the Suns, but that defensive just effort he gave in that series. Like if you were like a Westbrook hater after that series, you can't be anymore.
No.
Like I'm literally like every day I wake up and I'm sitting to myself. I'm like, if there was one jersey I wanted, it wasn't a Celtics jersey in my closet. It would be a Westbrook jersey. I fucking like when he was a free agent, I wanted him to be a Celtic. I was like, please come to the Celtics.
We had that episode. That was
yeah.
But yeah, I got them my top 3. Nuggets at 1. The C's at 2. The C's. I mean, I feel like the C's is probably gonna be the best matchup for the Nuggets. I feel like Porzingis is gonna make Joker work.
Good old Pingus.
I feel like that could be a finals preview, but Nuggets 1, C's 2, Clippers 3rd.
Yeah, see, so I'm just going to give my list away right now. We got the same exact list. For me, listen, at 3, again, I got to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about this one. I got to put the Clippers at 3rd. I didn't think Harden going into a team with all those egos would work, but you got to give a ton of credit to Ty Lue and those guys for buying into their roles. They're playing great basketball right now. They deserve a lot of credit. They've got depth. They can guard. Kawhi's efficiency right now is off the charts. This guy is in the mid-range. You know it's going in. Like, if you let him get a look up, it's going in. Harden playing that distributor role. Obviously, PG, we know what he does on both ends of the court. And then, like we talked about, Russ and Norman Powell off the bench. Like, Norman Powell is going out getting absolute buckets right now. So I will say, in terms of title contenders, I still have concerns about them. We've seen Kawhi and PG, like we talked about, get hurt a lot come postseason time. Even if they start the playoffs healthy, a lot of the time they'll both get hurt and they in the playoffs and they won't hold up. Obviously, Harden's known for playoff inconsistency, and Russ always brings energy in the playoffs, but he's been inconsistent in the playoffs as well. So I don't know if they're going to get to the finals. I still don't think they're going to get to the finals, but I thought it would be an unmitigated disaster, and for them to be a top 3 contender, in my opinion, right now, they've 100% proved me wrong, and they deserve their flowers. So yeah, I got the Clippers at 3. At 2, I've got the Celtics as well. They've been the best team in the NBA so far, both sides of the court. Obviously, Pingus and Holiday have been seamless fits. Like, they've fit in perfectly. Derek White is the best role player in the NBA. Like, he's unbelievable in his role. And obviously, you still have Tatum and Brown. And plus, I mentioned him earlier, I like them getting Xavier Tillman for a depth piece as well, because that bench isn't the deepest. But again, when you have a starting 5 that good, the depth isn't as important. However, I still have questions about these guys as well. And it's with arguably their 2 most important spots, and that's their coach and their best player. Can Joe Mazzulla really lead a team to the NBA Finals and an NBA championship come playoff time in June? Because we saw last year he was badly outcoached. I think by Doc Rivers in the second round, and obviously by Eric Spoelstra in the conference finals. And then, listen, this might be a controversial take, but is Jason Tatum really a number 1 on a championship team? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Jason Tatum is a 1 on a championship team. There's only a few guys. Listen to the guys ever who are number 1 guys on a championship team. I'll just go in reverse order. Jokic, Curry, Giannis, LeBron, Kawhi, Curry and KD, LeBron again, Curry again, Duncan and Kawhi. Then it was LeBron again, then it's Dirk, then it's Kobe. Like, you go Duncan again, the Celtics big 4, So is Jason Tatum the caliber of those guys? That's who we're talking about, right? I don't think he is. And he's got to prove that he is. Again, those guys weren't the caliber of those guys until they proved it. So again, he's got to be able to prove that. Right now, I have serious doubts about him doing that. But I mean, there's without a doubt that, they're the favorites in the East. Like, it's not even close right now. They have to be the favorites in the East. It'll just be up to the playoffs to see if, Joe Mazzulla and Jason Tatum really can come through. And then, like Ciso mentioned, number 1, it's the Nuggets. The defending champs, I mean, they've been coasting through the regular season and are still 2.5 games out of first. They aren't without flaws for sure. I mean, their depth is a concern. Obviously, them just, being healthy for the playoffs obviously is a concern. But but this is a team I trust that will come through when the playoffs is needed. So I think until somebody knocks them off, they've got to be number one. It's got to be the Nuggets for me. Like you mentioned, Ciso, not only just Jokic coming through in the playoffs, Jamal Murray every time in the playoffs. Every time he's in the playoffs, he turns into, a top 10 player in the NBA. It's unbelievable what he does come playoff time. So yeah, I still got to have the Nuggets number one. They're number one for me. But I mean, there is a lot of contenders in the NBA at this point in the season. There's a lot of teams who you could fathom, hey, if things break right, they can make a run.
As a Celtics fan, I want to believe that Tatum's got it in him. I really do.
It's belief right now, though.
Yeah, it's 100% belief. It's 100% because, like you said, we've been to the finals once, been Eastern Conference Finals multiple times, and you think about the teams that have knocked them off, right? Yeah. And you're like, what? Like, how are you? Like, Giannis did it. Giannis knocked him off, and Jimmy Butler's knocked him off. It seems like every single time they've matched up.
A couple times.
Yeah. And it's just
first time was LeBron with nobody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been one right after the other since then. You can't get out of that game 7, even when you think they should have already swept whoever they're facing.
He did get injured last year, game 7 though.
Yeah. He did. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but again, it's been a recurring theme for him though. Just when the game gets its biggest, it seems like he hasn't come through. And again, a lot of times with those championship players that I mentioned, it took them steps to get where they were at. It took them a lot of failures to get where they were at, to learn from where they were at. But again, Jason Tatum isn't there yet. So again, I still have doubts if he can be that number one guy on the championship team. He's gonna have an opportunity this year for sure, because he's got the team around him. If he doesn't do it with the team around him this year, I'm gonna have huge doubts, because he's got a great team around him now. He's got a perfectly fitting team around him now. So yeah, but for me, if I got concerns about your best player and your coach come playoff time, I'm taking a little bit of step back and like, whoa, I don't know how I feel about this team. But again, lots of great teams come playoff time, and again, we're going to be back here breaking it down for you when it starts coming that time. But that is going to be it for us here today for the Brickhouse. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate all your feedback. Give us your top 3 contenders down below in the comments. Again, thank you to Dubby for sponsoring this video. Shout out to the rest of our sponsors: Coffee Bros, Vivid Seats, SportMemorabilia.com, Pillow Fight, Fubo TV, and more. If you want to check out any or all of our sponsors, the links are going to be in the description. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms as well at the House Call Sports. We got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter. We're up on Threads. We've got merch. We've got blogs up. We've got all of our different segments up on our website. Our website is www.thehousecall.com. And that's going to be it for us. Peace.
Stop all the time. You can see those basketball tricks. Pretty cool. I enjoyed it. My family enjoyed it. I was probably realistically the only